Book Interrupted Chronicles capture some of our favorite and funniest moments together from before we were all in the club. If you would like to know who felt clothing was optional at the theme park, or which member flipped the script on her birthday surprise, go to www.bookinterrupted.com/unpublished to start your free trial to Unpublished, where our chronicles and inklings live. Trust us, you won't regret it.
Parental guidance is recommended because this episode has mature topics and strong language. Here are some moments you can look forward to during this episode of Book Interrupted.
We're going to talk about season 2 and moments that we liked. And
if anything I've learned from this experience is that, God damn it, I'm a slow reader.
We'll make sure.
There's like a collage of photos
Yes.
of me, and then all of a sudden it's the giant one of me. It's the tampon.
Did I love it? Do I dream about it on the daily? No, but I appreciate having been exposed.
We're kind of living in this Michael Keaton Batman world. And if
But
you're
I
going to
also-
choose a Batman, Michael Keaton, am I right?
And she's coming on next season, I saw.
She is. She's going to be on The Giver. She's one of the
Nice.
sheep.
Nice.
Take a look.
Ah.
Yeah.
You can
You can like
reveal
your
that
own
you're an
book.
egomaniac if you like, right?
I
now.
love the bird book.
I love my books. I love my choices.
I love myself.
I'm the best.
Yeah, me.
Mind, body, and soul. Information is the goal. Try to learn something new without being distracted. Mind, body, and soul. Information is the goal. Trying to learn something new without being disrupted. Mind, body, and soul. Inspiration is the goal. And we're gonna talk it out on Book Interrupted.
Welcome to Book Interrupted, a book club for busy people to connect and one that celebrates life's interruptions.
Welcome to the season 2 recap of our season 2.
Welcome to the Department of Redundancy Department.
This is a season 2 recap. We're going to talk about season 2 and moments that we liked and moments that we thought were funny and maybe moments that we didn't like. I don't know. Maybe.
And spoiler, whatever else we feel like.
Maybe not even talk about it at all.
Well, that's not really a spoiler. That's a normal thing we do.
Yeah.
Welcome to another episode.
Of normal.
People are listening to our podcast still. They're just like, yeah. Whatever.
Still.
They're just like, is it starting?
Okay, this is what they do.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with
Why don't people just bring up something they like? Does anybody have anything they want to talk about?
I think we should let the listener in on the behind the scenes fact that we're all just first learning about what we might talk about. So I was like, I don't remember anything, of course.
Yeah, same. I'm like, every moment is a new moment.
Yeah, totally.
Or Kim half remembers it. Sorry, that's better.
Yeah, maybe something will come up.
yes,
But right now I got nothing.
yes. Unless it's not true and then you're 100% sure.
Yes.
You heard it right.
I heard that. Tom Cruise.
Yeah, he's in Willow. The movie and the
You
new
heard it
series,
right.
actually.
Yeah.
I feel like we're like a really long way from the beginning of season 2. It doesn't seem like it's been going on forever.
Way longer.
I was trying to think back to what it was all about. Isn't it interesting that both my books from season 1 and season 2 were basically about communication? First one was about human communication, and the second one was about bird communication. Doesn't reading What the Robin Knows seem like forever ago to everybody?
Oh,
Yeah, it
and
was
yet-
a while.
Mhm.
Like another lifetime ago.
It permanently impacted my life. I notice all the birds.
And then why do you think it's about communication, both of those books, Mary?
I think because I'm a middle child.
Hmm.
Well, I don't feel like people
Maybe.
listen to me. That's why I talk really loud. Do you ever notice
Mhm.
that when some people talk really loud, it might mean that they don't think anyone's listening?
One of my go-to beliefs is people don't understand me. Hence, whether that is true or not, that is what I tell myself. And so what do I come in volume loud or stadium loud?
Stadium loud.
And if you think people are listening to you, you like to whisper.
Is that true?
Yes, you do.
Oh, I've got an engaged audience now. I can put in the dramatic flair.
Blair.
Of course.
What was I can't remember what my book was for season 1.
Yeah, what did you even choose?
Sapiens.
Sapiens. Let's play that game.
Oh, Sapiens.
Okay, so Sapiens, and then this time it was What Happened to You.
Well, Sapiens is kind of about what happened to you to get to be where you are today, human.
Really, what happened to you? Yeah, like actually, what happened to you?
What happened to everybody?
Way
Yeah.
past.
From an evolutionary standpoint.
History theme. Personal history?
Yep.
Evolutionary history. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Kim's
Okay.
was easy because she went with Jessie Thistle's
From the Ashes.
From the
From the
Ashes.
Ashes.
And then Bev
Sellers.
Sellers. Help me out. They call me number
They
one.
called me number one.
There you go.
We just read it. Kara, you need a coffee or something. Are you awake?
Pulled an all-nighter. I'm trying to finish this paper.
Oh,
like,
okay,
it's my
that
last
makes
paper
sense.
of the season.
Memoirs.
Yeah, so that theme was kind of
Memoirs.
like,
Well, Indigenous memoirs too.
And then
Specifically.
Indigenous memoirs,
yeah.
And Canadian as well.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
Canadian Indigenous authors. There you go.
Okay, Schweitz went with.
Well, obviously, everybody knows me and the tampon.
Oh yeah.
Our favorite picture.
I always forget.
Seeing red.
Ah, yes.
That was,
I always forget about you and the tampon, and then when people bring it up, I'm like, yeah, that's the best. It's gonna be one of my cherished memories if I could ever remember it.
I think we should carve it on your tombstone.
great. Perfect. Thank you. Yes. Things
Amazing.
that I want to be remembered by. Lindsay
In
and
your
Bill.
obituary
It
picture.
will be raised at your celebration of life.
That
It'll
will be
make it in there
something.
somehow. You know it now.
We'll make sure.
There's like
We'll
a
make sure it's there.
collage of photos
Yes.
of me, and then all of a sudden it's the giant one of me. It's the tampon. And
As the
face there.
closing, like, a visual.
I'm like,
Very
oh, yeah.
nice. Very nice.
I will make that happen.
Okay, thank you.
Done.
Great.
If I'm around.
Absorbent. Yeah.
Let's hope it's not too soon.
If not, one of you.
Yes. And then the other one was Fun Home. Yes. So
Yep.
there is
Oh,
no
yeah, Fun
theme
Home.
whatsoever. Women,
Fun.
women
I don't see it on there.
authors.
Yeah.
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 Women authors.
I was going to say, weren't you motivated by picking like outside of the box, right? Because we were
That's
all
what I was
kind of
gonna say.
similar in our,
Yeah.
you know, self-helpy whatevers. Not really,
Mhm.
but that's how you felt. Like we were all kind of interested in the other books that each other picked. And you were like, I'm picking this one.
Yeah.
I'll get at least one this
Mm,
season.
I need a break. I need
Yeah.
a break from the
And,
self-help.
yeah. Yeah, that was the second season. The first season is just because Sarah asked and I had to decide, and I bought that book and it was sitting by the bed. I was like, oh, this one.
There it is.
How about this book?
That's such a great example of coincidence being, you could argue, fate, you know, because then it turned into such a great relationship with
Yeah.
Karchmer.
Yeah, she came on 3 times.
Yeah.
On Book Interrupted.
It really
Yeah,
did.
Right, totally.
That's great. She's basically just like another member.
Yeah, she'll be back.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Um,
Sarah's was obviously Women Who Run with the Wolves. and
Obviously.
Obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Although
started
that
it
could have
all.
been
Good
Kara's. They
stuff.
loved it that hard.
Love, love.
And
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I picked Talking to
Forward.
Strangers.
Oh, yeah. The good
Oh,
old Gladwell.
I don't
yeah.
know if there's a theme.
God, it was good. I love that one.
Is there a theme?
Maybe
Yours.
beloved authors, because people love both those people a lot.
But do you?
Of course she does.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
She called them beloved.
Does she love them more
But then
than
she
the
said people
vampires?
instead of being like, because I love them."
People like this lady.
Yeah.
Well, it's also
Maybe.
they're both understanding people.
Yeah. In like
Mhm, that's
weird
true.
Very unique
ways.
perspective,
Storytelling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're both trying to understand why people do
Mhm.
the things they do
Right.
and how
Okay.
to, yeah, so maybe. And then Kara was Burnout
Untamed.
and Untamed.
Yeah.
So same thing.
Burnout.
Patriarchy.
I think, yeah.
Conformity
slightly
and
as
a-
feminist.
Yeah. Feminism in there.
POV,
Yeah.
Breaking out of
Cages.
systems. Yeah. Cages,
Social
The
norms.
expectations.
social norms. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So did our book say stuff about our personalities? Maybe,
Yeah,
yes.
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does Kara want to break out of
Yeah.
patriarchy? Okay. Do
Yeah.
I want to understand kind of where and how and why we come from? Yep.
Yep.
Mhm. Meredith
I
wants
know.
to communicate.
Does Mayor,
obsessed with the
Mayor wants to
communication.
communicate.
Mayor wants to be heard.
Okay, what is mine?
Yeah, Lindsay's is hard. Lindsay's is hard.
Lindsay wants to be a tampon. Lindsay wants to be different.
Lindsay's a rebel.
Yes.
Lindsay wants to
Yeah.
not conform.
Yeah.
Lindsay does not want to conform.
Yeah, I'd say non-conformity. Yeah.
Lindsay's gonna do what Lindsay does.
Yeah.
That's very true. Lindsay will.
And Sarah, does yours?
Oh yeah, I think trying to understand the world around me. Definitely.
Through storytelling. That's your favorite way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then Kim made a pledge. to,
I have an
shed light.
intention.
You have an intention.
Yeah, you have an intention. Yeah.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
very noble intention.
Oh well.
that
just-
would have been kind of probably good to think about.
I was immersed at the time that this all started too, though. So it was not like I
Yeah.
got all zen and opened up my holy.
What?
holy
Opened
wall.
up what holy?
You were right in the
Or-
you were
Called
doing
it my
some
holy.
educational stuff, right?
Yeah,
Open
I
that
was
holy.
already seeking and trying to whatever. So it just was on theme at the time. I'm not actually noble.
But I think that's
No,
your
no, you
personality.
are.
You
I
get
think that is
immersed in
noble.
things, right? I think that is part of your personality, being immersed in
Or
into
really like
things.
steadfast to something, like you honor your word.
Well,
And
I
when-
try to, and sometimes others make me.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I did that for this next season,
Whatever.
didn't I?
Okay.
That's not even from the list, what we just did. 20 minutes.
I know, that was great.
Yeah, it was good though.
Okay, so we have what is the funniest or most uncomfortable or favorite moment and or episode for you?
Goodness.
Just think of moments.
So
That's really wide.
I need anybody to talk
Mm.
about anything, and then I'll get my.
You know what?
Something
Something's kind of
funny.
stuck with me, and it's a fairly recent one. Last time we had Kirsten on, she was talking about BPA in receipts. I can't get out of my head. And then Eco Justice sent out, I think it might have been like a TikTok that was talking about all these chemicals that are in everyday things and how the Canadian Environmental Protection Act has not been updated since like the 90s. And they're trying to like strengthen it. That's really stuck with me, being like, why is there high level of BPA? And they talked about the receipts in there. Why is there high levels of BPA in receipts and how it affects people? And part of the things they were highlighting is chemicals that are in makeup. And it made me think of, you know, the Michael Keaton Batman, how like Joker put all these things in the toiletries and cosmetics and stuff to
Yes.
make people crazy. And I was like, that's basically what happens now, except for it's mostly just women who are getting affected. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe there's other stuff in
Oh my
like shampoo
God.
that's affecting everybody.
That's
So, like,
good.
We're kind of living in this Michael Keaton Batman world. And if
But I
you're going to
also-
choose a Batman, Michael Keaton, am I right?
Am I right?
Yes, confirmed.
Yeah. No George Clooney or
Wanna get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts. Best line ever.
At least there's that.
I think that the same thing about reading The Handmaid's Tale, at the risk of bleeding into next episode. I was
Yeah.
thinking the same thing though. Her dystopia, fictional dystopia, sounds like it's just an observation about where we're going.
Okay, I don't want to get into it because
Scary.
I have something to say about that. So let's bring it up on the next episode
Fine.
Yeah, me too.
because I'm ready to get into that.
Same.
I can say something about the receipts.
Yeah, sure.
I went to work and told my boss, I was like, all these receipts, we touch thousands and tens of thousands every year. So he's looking into it. I don't know if it's going to happen, but he was
Yay.
looking
There's
into
the
it.
like when
Oh.
people use Square at the market, like you have the option, like how do you want your receipt mailed to you? Whatever, no
yeah.
receipt. Maybe that's an
Mhm.
option.
Gloves. Maybe you guys can get, it's a fancy restaurant, so maybe you can get fancy gloves. that look
all the
nice.
time you're wearing, like we don't have time. We're so busy right now.
We don't have time for gloves.
Put the gloves off,
No, I don't mean to put them on and off.
No, just wear them on because you're fancy.
No, I mean just keep on. They can be like fancy with like buttons that come up the side.
They could go up to your elbow.
They'd have to have like rubberized fingers so you could actually grab things.
Sure. Yeah, I'll think about it.
It could be like one of those Kardashian outfits.
Mm.
If COVID comes back, you could not even show your face. You could just have a full bodysuit, gloves,
Yeah.
mask, all the way to the
I
boot.
definitely think my bosses will go for that.
That sounds comfortable.
Could it be a fancy bodysuit?
Fancy? I think it should definitely be sheen.
Lycra, like
Oh,
Yes, shiny.
And then on the back, you explain why you're dressed like that because the Canadian Environmental Protection Act has not
Yes.
been updated and there's
Yes.
chemicals
See, I'm
in your
really
receipts.
claustrophobic.
Don't touch them with your bare hands.
There you go. Now your
I'm so
problem's been
claustrophobic
solved.
thinking about
put,
this.
like,
I'm sure that your high-end restaurant will be totally for
Yeah.
that.
Complete
political
change of brand.
statement.
I'm taking it in, and you know, I'm gonna process
Recommend-
it,
just-
and
just
maybe I'll
ideas.
pitch it. Yeah.
I'm just spitballing here.
Just spitballing.
But that
hate
really
this
stuck
video.
with me from this season. It's just like, what? And I know it's like later in the season. It's hard to remember things that happened earlier on.
I think the funniest moment of the season is when we were doing bird calls. I think I
Oh, that
almost
was-
my pants
God.
on
That was
there.
fun.
It was
Especially your
really
bird
good.
calls, Sarah.
When Kim had one,
Lovely.
it was
No,
the,
Kim was the
Kim's was
best.
great.
Kim.
Kim's
What
was
was
great.
it called again?
Forgot.
Ricotta.
Frittata?
Ricotta.
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 Who
Mhm.
knew? So many words that sound like that.
Can you still do the ricotta call?
So many times it's calling me when I'm walking around, and I always
Oh
try
my
to
God.
capture it, and like it knows, it goes silent. You want me to ricotta
Ugh.
right now?
Yes,
Just one.
do it.
Just
Mhm.
one ricotta would be nice.
Yeah.
Or two if you have to.
Okay, listeners, prepare your ear holes. Your ear holies.
Gracious.
Wait.
Mine sounds really like aggressive
Aggressive?
or something, or in
Yeah.
pain. Like it's not, like it's cleaner. Like a raspy voice. I don't know. That's it.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that was
That
good.
was a fun episode.
I think one of the most uncomfortable things, no offense to Leah, but was her book. I think a lot of you guys in particular, that was just a really difficult book for everybody to read. Well, some of you to read. And so I think that was uncomfortable even for us who didn't hit us as much, that you going through that felt, you know, difficult. So sorry to bring down from the humor to
No,
that.
that's
but
okay.
It's kind of like, I mean, it was uncomfortable, yes, but it kind of highlights trauma and how it's hard to see how it, you know, especially if you've experienced it, you kind of hide it, try to keep it to yourself or whatever. And so like
Mhm.
how it can affect, and then a book like that can show people who don't have that same reaction. I don't know. I think it kind of highlighted what the reaction can be, like a broad spectrum of reactions to that book. Right.
Yeah.
But for some people, it's like, oh, it's just a book. And for other people, it's like, it can change their day. I don't know how to say it.
I think you're spot on.
I know I made everyone uncomfortable being like, I have to take a break.
I know. It's
I
like,
had to like walk away from the show.
Sarah's like,
Just talking about it.
You didn't make everyone
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable. So that's a common response.
Looking back now, I think, why did you guys finish the book?
That good question. I was
Just kidding.
curious.
I didn't.
You didn't. Oh, okay. Yeah, you put it down.
Sarah called me, and Sarah goes, tell me it gets better. Like, and I was like, you should stop reading now. And I did finish the book because I can't help myself.
And you did.
I did finish it.
Is there a book that you didn't finish in both seasons? I think you finished everything.
No, Burnout. You didn't finish Burnout.
I didn't finish Burnout. I couldn't.
Oh, you didn't finish Burnout. Of all books, that's funny that you got burnt out on Burnout.
I can be like, I can do it. That's how I feel about all the books. I'm like, if I'm not feeling it, I'm like, I'm just going to finish it. I'm just going to go through. And like, Women Who
Mhm,
Run
yeah.
with the Wolves from last season, I sped through and skipped some parts, but I did get through. I made sure I
You
read
did get through it.
Something
parts
from
of
each
all of it.
section.
Something from each section.
Yeah.
But yeah, Burnout, every time I came back, I'm like, yeah, of course I can read this. And there was something about the writing or the style or
Oh,
something
yeah.
about it. I just couldn't. I was like, I can't.
Yeah, what books didn't you? That's a good question. What books didn't everyone finish? That's kind of interesting. Like,
Oh yeah, we should go through it. Me is just what happened to you.
maybe myself more than others. I win the
okay,
award.
let's
You
all
should've
listen
handed
to
out-
Leah's list. No.
Okay,
you
Leah,
should've- yeah.
you go
I
next.
should have handed out awards. No, I didn't finish so many, but sadly, I wish it was because I made the active choice of not finishing. I wish I'm a slow reader. If anything I've learned from this experience is that, God damn it, I'm a slow reader. And
That's okay.
this
Yeah.
takes me a long time. I really highlighted to me, not so much second season because I'd kind of gotten used to it, but the first season I remember thinking, oh fuck, this brings up a lot of, you're stupid. like kid stuff where you're like, you're stupid, you can't read, just because of my learning disability. Clearly still the learning comprehension. I have to reread things, paragraph, like over and over, or like listen to it and read it. And it just pisses me off. Takes too long. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
As far as problems go, it's not the worst one.
Like, it's nice that you figured out that you can listen to it and read it, and that helps, right? Because then you're not limited. You can read when you want to.
Yeah, if I found I let myself off the hook for second season and listened to everything while I read it, and I retained much more. I don't think I'm retaining almost anything when I just read it. So that's just like a good thing to know about yourself for future learning. Yeah.
And there's
Totally.
nothing wrong with it just listening. Like,
Yeah,
you're
just
still
listening's nice too.
consuming the book.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually kind of created a lot of self-care. I found when I stopped fighting the listening, thinking like I was cheating or something, because I added it into my daily routine, and it's super soothing to like walk around with your dog for an hour a day while listening to something you're interested in. It was a really good, especially I found like this year, I needed that time.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still haven't listened to an audiobook. One day. in my
No?
life I will.
Any ever?
Have you
Oh.
never?
Never.
Never.
Oh,
No, not a
wow.
book. I mean, I listen to podcasts and I listen to the
Sure.
radio all the time. The idea of committing to listening to something for that long over that period of time, that's daunting to me. It's the opposite of what Leah. I would
Interesting.
much rather read it than listen to it for that long.
Oh.
The attention span of trying for me to actively listen, even in any time for me to actively listen is
Oh, wow.
hard. I can have it in the background and I like would half listen, but if I'm trying to actively take it all
Listen.
in, much rather read it. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So
That's
everybody's
interesting.
brain just learns differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so interesting how that, because I don't think I could sit still and listen to a book. I think that would be hard. It was like something about the combination of movement while listening. And then
Yeah.
I felt like I was really taking it in.
Oh, well, okay. I'll try it.
No, don't try it. I think you know how you take it.
No, don't try
Don't
it.
try it.
No.
I want to.
Yeah, don't do it.
Maybe I want to. All right. Can I?
Okay,
All right?
no, you're banned. No, you're banned.
I'm banned from doing it.
I'm always listening to a book and reading a book at the same time.
And are they
Oh,
the
yeah.
same book or they can be different?
No, they're always different. I like to cook
Hmm.
and listen to an audiobook.
Yeah, me too.
My thing. Cooking and
Yeah.
listening to
Mhm.
audiobooks.
I mean, podcasts, I'll listen, I'll study for wine and stuff. So I guess it's the same
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
Maybe I should give it a go.
A gal.
Even though Leah, a go. Give it a go.
I'm gonna go.
Give it a go.
As like a precursor to next season, I listened to Fahrenheit 451 done by Tim Robbins. I recommend that audiobook because he
Oh.
acts
I
the
love Tim
shit out of that
Robbins.
book. Right? Like it's good. I was reading the book too because I took it out of the library. And usually I prefer to read because I can read in the voices I think that the book is in. Sometimes I don't like audiobooks because I don't agree with how the narrator is interpreting the
yeah.
writing. But in this case, I preferred the audiobook because, like I said, he did it. He read it, I think, as it was
was
intended to
in
be
it.
read, you know? So that's what I recommend. It's
Okay.
probably available through your library.
I would recommend anybody listening to a Malcolm Gladwell book because he
Yeah.
knows what he's doing because he's a
For
podcaster.
sure.
Holy smokes. That by far this season, that was my favorite read listening
was
combo. He's fracking
fantastic.
fabulous
I haven't
and
listened to
very
Malcolm
different
Gladwell
from
yet.
just the book. I would say the audio had more to offer. Yeah, he really
Yeah.
went for it.
Okay.
And the worst audiobook. I know what you guys are going to say because I remember you telling me.
I know what I'm going to say. It was my book.
Oh,
My
really?
book choice this season. It was such a hard thing. Oh my God. I think it was hard to fucking read. Jesus Christ.
I thought you were going to say.
sad.
I thought
So
the
sad.
burnout.
Burnout.
Remember you guys said
From
there
a,
was
like annoying
music
standpoint
and-
of
It just
the
got
word
annoying after a
patriarchy.
while
Yeah.
with and they go patriarchy. Ugh. By the time you hear it the sixth
That
time,
stuff,
you're like,
like,
oh, I dare you to say it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part I did love. Yeah.
Midnight Library was fan freaking. I loved that one
That
on
was good,
audio,
yeah.
and it was I think my favorite like surprise book of the season. I wasn't expecting to enjoy
Yeah,
it so
I liked
much.
it.
That was my favorite book this season, was The Midnight Library. I loved it.
I think because it was a fantasy book. And it was like such a good fantasy, and it was like such a nice break from, I don't know, other books.
But I think I also just like Virginia. Yeah, Virginia's also lovely.
That was my favorite part of the whole season, was having Ginny on.
Yep, same.
Yeah, she fit in really well, and she asks really good questions.
She was fantastic. Yeah.
So good.
She was such a natural. I knew she'd be good because I know she's an avid reader, but she was fantastic at the podcasting aspect as well.
And she's coming on next season, I saw.
She is. She's going to be on The Giver. She's one of the sheep.
Nice.
Take a look.
Ah.
One of the
I can't
sheep.
wait. Is it up
What
yet?
does that mean?
Sarah?
Yeah, it is. Go to www.bookinterrupted.com.
Oh my God, I have to check it out. I haven't checked it out yet.
Is really good.
I'm going right now.
Yeah, if you go to our website, www.bookinterrupted.com, and you'll see all the different books we're doing, and then you'll see the sheep picture. Me, Mare, Kim, Kara, and Virginia are sheep.
Mhm. That's one of my favorite things about the podcast is the doing the silly pictures as well as the playlist for a second year in a row. I just think those are
Yeah.
so fun, those activities.
It's kind of nice having people help curate some playlists for you. Like, oh, pick a couple
Yes.
songs, and somebody else does. You hear music you've never heard
Yeah.
before.
This
What's so
fucking
funny?
website is amazing.
Isn't it good?
I've checked it out. Guys, this is so good.
Oh, you're on the website.
Oh,
It's the best.
I was like, what's so funny?
I was like, I didn't think what I said was very funny, but thanks.
The sheep? It's hilarious. Sorry, I just had to check this out, the sheep, and
That's
it's
good.
so funny.
Isn't it good?
Guys,
very
it's
funny,
really
yeah.
good. Holy smokes.
Lee, I like you as Katniss Everdeen.
I like me as Katniss Everdeen as well.
I know you look like a badass.
I
in that
agree.
picture.
And then there's like Sarah popping out from behind the bush. What really makes me laugh is the Handmaid's Tale and Meredith. Like, peace. It just doesn't make any sense. It's so funny.
I couldn't
Oh
find
my
Kim. I
God.
was like, "Where's Kim? Where's Kim?" I was like, "Oh, she's right there, like right at the very front of that one."
So
You don't notice
good.
her right away.
I
Good
know.
job, Sarah and Jess.
Who is it? Is it Jessica? Jessica?
Yeah.
Is it
Jessica
Odie or
Odie.
Odie? Odie?
Odie.
Oh,
Booty.
Jessica
He is
Odie.
a fantastic web designer.
Hat tip to you. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, she's so good. I don't know if you guys saw, but the first draft of the sheep picture, she actually made us into sheep. But I was like, I think only we would be able to see who's who, because it was like just the eyes really that you could kind of see. So I asked her, can you make it more like our faces so that listeners could pick out who we are? And she said, sure. But she actually made us into sheep.
She was like, well, it took me a while to
Oh my
turn you into
God.
sheep, but I guess I'll just do
I
the
ever
easy
was
way.
a sheep. This is what I'd look like. This interruption is brought to you by Unpublished. Do you want to know more about the members in Book Interrupted? Go behind the scenes? Visit our website at www.bookinterrupted.com.
Book interrupted.
This wonderful interruption is brought to you by December. I celebrate Christmas and I start in December. That means making Christmas playlists, watching Christmas movies, and decorating for Christmas. What a merry way to interrupt your life.
Book interrupted.
My favorite book was The Midnight Library. You want to go around and say who your favorite book was this season?
Let's list. Somebody list all the books first, and then we'll do it.
Okay, so the first book was What Happened to You. The second book was Talking to Strangers. Then we had What the Robin Knows, The Midnight Library, Fun Home, Burnout, and They Called Me Number One.
Do we have to choose our favorite book that was not our own book?
No, you can choose your own book.
No, you can pick whatever book you want.
Yeah, you can like your own book.
I love the bird book.
You can reveal that you're an egomaniac if you like, right now. I love my books.
I love myself.
I'm the
I love-
best.
Yeah, me.
This should be a show just about me.
Yeah.
Season 4, Meredith chooses all the books. And then it's just me. No one ever is like, no, we're not reading this.
Yeah.
I like immediately forgot the list.
Oh, I thought
Oh.
yours was your favorite book.
I
yours.
did really like the book, but I probably liked Fun Home more than everybody else did. I really liked Fun Home. I'm even reading Madame Bovary, which I think is referenced in Fun Home. I was like, what is this
What
book
isn't?
about? What isn't, right? So I was like, maybe I'll read some of those. I saw it in a used bookstore and I picked it up for $2.
Is it good?
And it is good. It's kind of sexy, but in like a 1700s kind of way or whatever. Right? So it's weird because you're like, this is sexy, but it doesn't get into any details, right? It's kind of, anyways, has a way. Yeah, so I think I liked that one, but I did love the bird book.
Can we say favorite and least favorite?
Yeah.
Sure, if you want to. Go for it.
All right. Meredith,
Well,
what's your
least
least favorite?
Was obviously What Happened to
Burnout.
You. That was really
Oh, was it?
Oh.
What happened to you?
Oh, or Burnout. It was Burnout. I'm sorry, Kara. But What Happened to You was my least favorite time because I found that period very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Lindsay, you go next.
Probably a tie between Talking to Strangers, because I'd never read a Malcolm Gladwell book. So I thought that was really interesting in the way that I learned a lot from that book. So that was good. I love to learn. So, and then I like The Midnight Library because, I like fiction. So for me, that was like a good reprise from all the other stuff. My least favorite book. Actually, I really like Call Me Number One too. Even though it took me forever to read it, I feel like that one. Sorry, now I've just named half the books, but
Yeah.
I
and I
wrote the
also
same
like.
and
And then my least favorite, probably What Happened to You. Just because I just didn't, for me, it was okay, but it was, I think so. I don't know. What were the other ones? A lot of them were a struggle for me this year. In all honesty, the other ones were all a struggle for me this year to get
Fun
through.
Home, your own book. Did you like
Yeah.
it or?
Yeah, it was okay. I liked it, but I wouldn't read it again. In all honesty, I don't think any of the books that we read this year were my favorites or that I would read again.
That's how I feel when it's my turn. I'm like, I don't feel like anything qualifies as my favorite. None of them did that for me. Midnight Library, I really liked the beginning of, and then by the end, I was like, and least favorite, same. I mean, the Burnout one, I also chose not to read it. I was just like, I don't like I don't know. It was like the voices, like I don't know how to describe it, like tone, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to say personality or personally attack the authors or anything like that, but I didn't enjoy the conversation, or I don't know, what's the word to describe the
tone, I think.
Is tone right?
or style.
Or style, because remember they had fictional stories you didn't like.
Yeah, those
Style.
guys, like, overcomplicated for me. And same thing with What Happened to You. It wasn't so much the topic, because that's a topic that I like to learn about, but it was
the style.
It was the style. I hate the conversation, like the contrived. And they say this. Could you tell me more about that? Or in Burnout, like characters exampling. I'm sure that's really helpful for some people to have a example instead of just I don't know, instruction or recipe, you know what I mean? Without the nuances. I feel like I'm having a hard time coming up with the right words to describe the things I like or don't like.
I understand what you're saying, if that helps.
Right.
Okay.
You don't like the style. Cool.
The style. is what
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I read them all except for Burnout. That was good, I guess. I don't think I didn't read anything in season 1 except for Women Who Rode with the Wolves, which was funny because that was when we first started and we were all like extra sensitive about whether if everyone else would be mad or something, or if we'd be the only one. Like, everyone was, we didn't know how it was really going to be. And we made the rules, but then we were like, are they real? Or are they fake rules?
Are
And I'm
they?
secretly
Is it okay if we
blackballed.
don't read it?
Are we just saying it?
Yeah.
It was good that it was my book too, because I was like, no, you don't have to read it. We said we don't have to read it. And then everyone was like, oh, okay. And then
Thank God.
the
We're
three
not
of you
reading
came out
it.
and were like, I can't get through it.
I
can't, please.
Done.
There's too much analysis, just like
Yeah.
over and more, and just keep looking.
Yeah.
And I read that book twice.
Oh, me too.
Twice.
I loved
Kara,
it.
I love it. It's
For the
good.
third time.
Oh, you read
Kara-
it third time. I forgot.
Kara, what did you like and didn't like?
I mean, classic Kara. I think you guys know my personality enough now to know, was there anything I really didn't like? No, there was something out of everything. Loved Midnight Library, loved Malcolm Gladwell's Talking to Strangers. I appreciated Funhouse in that it was just so refreshing to try something different, like a graphic novel. Did I like love it? Do I dream about it on the daily? No, but I appreciate having been exposed to something different. Similarly with the Bird book, I probably wouldn't have sought it out myself, but similar to the playlist, isn't it nice that we all collectively go into curating our reading list? So it was nice to conceptually, I love some of the themes that came up out of the Bird book, but am I going to read it again? Most likely not. So I don't think I hated any book.
I don't usually read any book again, also. So, like, that's not saying something. If I forget it proper.
Oh, really? Oh, I'm a repeat offender. If I like something, then I'm like, precious, don't worry, I'll come back to you. I'm like, it's so disturbing. It's like this reward mechanism I have as if my books are alive. I'm like, don't worry, you get the spot on the shelf that indicates you will be revisited.
Oh, you have a reread shelf. I like that.
And it brings like great feelings of like comfort when I know that I have like go-tos.
Well, for me, I guess my whole bookcase is that. Because if I'm definitely not reading a book again, like I don't read books again. So this is really bizarre. But I keep books that I think are worth it if I'm ever decided to start reading things a second time. But books that I know for sure are never going to come again. They're not even on the shelf. They get donated for some other sucker.
Punishment.
No, wait. Okay, so what is your process if you get a book and regardless of whether you are lukewarm, love it, or hate it, when you're done, you're pretty much passing it along and not keeping it in the home?
If it's a book that I liked a lot, I keep it.
Okay.
And then if it's a book that I am like never ever going to open, I guess I live in the world of potential, right? There's a possibility I might look at that again because I like that. So it will go on the shelf. And then I'm like, I know I'll never look at this again. Goodbye.
Good. And you just move on.
Yes.
But you keep all your books, Kara?
I don't know. There's something about books that I just kind of feel weird about. Well, they could never make it to the garbage. That is unacceptable.
Sorry.
Like,
I would rip up a
there.
book and like use it for wallpaper before
I put
throwing
a
it in the
book-
garbage.
I put a book in the recycling bin.
Oh, yeah.
And it
was it moldy?
It was a book. I saved this book series from when I was a kid, and I took such good care of it as a kid. And now it's my kids. And there was this one book. It's basically a book about a cat, and it's like kind of a fat shaming book. The cat was made fun of because she was a big cat, and then a mouse goes to help her, and the cat's like eating salads in this book, and then the mouse helps her exercise, and then everybody thinks she's so beautiful, and now she has friends because she's thin. And I was like, the kids will be like, let's read this one because it's about a cat. I'm like, no, we're not going to read that one. And one day I was like, why do I even have this book if I don't want my kids to read it, and I don't think any other kid should read it? And I took it and I stuck it in the recycling bin, and it felt so good because I've been cherishing this whole series of books. I took such good care of it. I was like, I should get rid of this one book because I don't want my kids reading it, and I don't want any other kids reading it. So I'm not going to donate it. That's the thing about books when I'm donating them, kids' books. Sometimes I get rid of my kids' books. So I'm like, this is not appropriate. And then I don't want to donate them. If I think it's encouraging a negative intrinsic bias in my kids, I don't want to donate it for sort of some other kid to then get.
Do you think that's the same as censorship?
Good question. Good question.
But here's another
There,
question. Do
Timmy.
you think it's partially a parent's job to help show your kids what your values are?
Part of your responsibility.
But then other kids too.
Like censorship, maybe.
I think that those books that have the bad stuff in it could be great conversation books.
We did have
Right,
lots of
right, yeah.
conversations, but eventually I was just like, they just love cats. So eventually I was like, getting rid of this one.
Their discernment revolved around they like feline. Yeah.
I think also the word censorship always gets a bad rap, but is there some cases where it's okay to censor some things, especially from young, impressionable minds? Maybe. I don't know. There's like some movies I won't let my kids watch at this age, but when they're older,
I think it's
of
interesting
course.
to find the next stage, the also censoring for other unknown children. That's kind of next level interesting.
It's not everything. I mean, there's
Yeah.
some things like
You've
sometimes we're given-
decided for the world, this is no good. Well, we know that you think that your choices are great, right? Like, remember we established that a minute ago, so now you're like,
Yeah, I do.
and I will make this decision.
Well, if you have a book that is old and a kid's book and is blatantly racist,
would you donate that so that another kid could buy it? Or would you say this book is not appropriate
You
anymore?
might keep it and talk about why it's racist and use it like, look at what history used to do. Look at this book. This is how
Maybe wouldn't use it on a 3-year-old.
yeah.
You might wait till later. Yeah. To talk about it. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, but how many books do you want to keep?
I kind of agree with Kim on this one.
In your box of bad books. That's a new one. I'm getting a new shelf, a bad book shelf.
The bad bookshelf?
Ooh, the bad books.
I do have a box of bad books in my closet.
Oh, do you?
I do have a box.
Oh, really?
Eh? In the tickle trunk.
And I also have one final thought about it. I wish instead of recycling it, you burned it. That's the only other thing I wish about your story. Instead of
that it?
recycling it, I wish you burned it.
No,
I wish you
can't do
went
that.
full glory.
It was hard enough to recycle it, honestly. That was hard enough. It took me like years of being like, oh, this book again? Why do they keep choosing this book? And I tell them, what do you think is wrong with this book? We talked about it. Sometimes you just want to read a book to your kids without having to get into all the, it's just
Life lessons. Yeah.
every day is a life lesson. I actually do have a box of books in my closet, but it's not like bad books that I want to get rid of. It's books that were thrown off their bookshelf in a tantrum and they refuse to clean up. So I just take them away. I like
Bad
yeah,
girl
yeah.
books. The box
don't-
of bad girl books.
You want to
Bad girl
empty out your
books.
bookshelf on the floor? I'm not cleaning it up again. I'm putting it in this box and then the books will go away for a while.
Until they become racist.
Forever.
Until they become racist and then they're done.
Then we'll recycle them. So way to go.
Yeah.
That was such an interesting conversation.
That's interesting. That is interesting.
Wait, we never got to Leah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Leah never told us what book she liked and didn't like.
Oh, I didn't love What the Robin Knows. I just didn't get it but it was very niche,
Very niche.
very niche. But I could see why if you're into birds. Yeah. it'd be
But the
interesting.
question is, do you notice
And I
birds
did-
more now?
Oh, for sure.
I
noticed.
absolutely notice birds now, and I did pass that book along to someone who's into birds. So that being said, like I think the group, I don't think there's a reread from this season that I would put on the coveted reread shelf. But my favorite book was They Call Me Number One. I wouldn't have guessed that. Like, aside from the content being pretty sad and just like it's a sad book, the storytelling style really came through for me. It was very
Well, like-
vivid for me.
Like
Mhm.
after I finished and then Lindsay started talking, I was like, oh, I wanted to say this too. So to build on your point, Leah, when we read it, I felt guilty for wanting to say like, well, that was easy to read. You know what I mean? But
Pretty easy to read, a sad topic.
yeah.
Yeah.
But what I loved about it was it revealed almost like experiential learning of how dissociative she had become, I guess. I mean,
Yes,
this is our
that's exactly how I
interpretation, but
felt.
it does really make good sense, it seems, that she had to become that sterile or whatever you want to call it in order to survive like her early child experience.
And did anyone else listen to it as well as read it?
No. Did you listen to
Oh.
it? Was it audio?
I
Oh,
listened
yeah.
and read it.
Does she do the voice?
She's
know?
yeah, she's the reader, and it is very
Straightforward.
yeah, it's very unemotional. But what I found really interesting is when she talks about, coming home to grandma's place, the food, the berries they pick, all the like the happy moments. Her tone was exactly the same, exactly flat.
Yeah.
But the storytelling was so vivid somehow. I don't know how she did it. You could just tell those happy memories were so happy. It came through, even though she was almost monotone. Yeah, it was to me, it was the best storytelling. Of
Yeah,
the
like I
season.
felt like it was really, I don't know if fulsome's the right word, but like layered. Like it was an ongoing experience of learning and understanding. Like just reading the book was such the tip of the iceberg, or like the very, very surface of what you can get out of it. I think I'm grateful that we had it in this forum because we could talk about it. I'm not sure I would have been able to get the depth of knowledge or understanding without the conversation after the fact too, because I was stuck on the I'm so privileged. Oh, it's so easy for me to read this, or whatever, right? Like I just didn't, I was stuck in myself, right? By talking about it and hearing everyone's personal journals and everything, it really enhanced my experience of that book. I just feel like in terms of Indigenous storytelling, I think that is kind of a whiff of the experience of what it's supposed to be like. I feel like that's how it's supposed to play out, is that you have a story, but then the listener who does all this digesting and understand, like it turns into something else, or it becomes a different, it's so much more than just the words. It's not one dimensional. It's like 5-dimensional. And I feel like we got like a whiff of the experience of that as outsiders.
The experience as opposed to the emotional experience. It was like she let us decide our own emotional experience. Obviously, when she's telling the stories of the school, obviously that would be incredibly challenging. And obviously, I'm sure she felt emotions. I don't know. It was like you got the information without necessarily having to feel it.
Yeah.
Meredith said it well. She said the author's not trying to manipulate your emotions. She said often authors, when they're writing, part of their mission is to manipulate your emotions because they're trying to get you, to feel their book or whatever. And she was just telling her story, didn't get the sense that
storytelling in like a learning.
She has a second book out. Did you guys know that? It's
no.
Yeah, and it's called Price Paid: The Fight for First Nation Survival. And she's talking about misconceptions that are widely believed about Indigenous people in Canada.
Oh, I like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
It's called Price Paid.
Price Paid.
Yeah, The Fight for First Nation Survival.
When did it come out? Like
2016, I think.
Oh,
it's at my library. Yes.
Yeah.
You're very good. Like, I don't think I would have been able to do that fast. You're like, yes.
When
I know that, I was like, wow. Are you looking it up now?
Yeah.
She's already got it. She's already checked it out. She's reading.
I gotta put it on hold.
looking at right now, guys.
Should I go to the next question? Do you guys want me to go to a next question? I have another one.
Sure.
So we had Kirsten Karchmer and Karma Brown on this season. If you could have another author on from both seasons, from any of the seasons, which one would you have on?
No, let's just pick this season because we already know what we want from last season.
That's true. I'm like, just like
yeah. Imagine Malcolm Gladwell came on.
Oh, I was gonna say.
Oh my God.
That would be so.
He'd be fun to talk
awesome.
to.
It'd be amazing.
Or Oprah.
I mean,
Kim.
Oprah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oprah.
Kim's been trying to get Oprah on for a while.
Kind of. Have you tweeted to her recently?
No.
Any tweets?
No, I can't tweet.
If Oprah comes on, I'm showing up.
Okay, we'll let you know.
I would love to have Bev come on and continue the conversation. And also like maybe to share perspectives from that other book, because that sounds like valuable information too.
Obviously, I'd like John Young on just to hear him talk about birds. He's so passionate, but I don't think he would come on.
Yeah, that would.
I think he's too busy in the woods.
That might enhance he would be a good side. I imagine he'd just travel. Whoever bought his book, he had an appointment, like an engagement. Because I'm like, if he was there, I bet you we would like it more.
Yeah, I agree. Even though I didn't love Meredith's book pick, I would appreciate having the author on. I like people that are just
having people that are passionate.
Yeah, that are just all in.
Yeah, passionate about whatever.
Yeah, even if it like the weirder or more unique or different
or specific.
Or
like passionate, something very specific.
I love it.
Yeah, it would like be a mini masterclass.
I did write to. Remember, I wrote to Alison Bechtel from Fun Home,
but she only accepts letters.
Yeah,
maybe she just hasn't read it yet. Maybe she gets so many that there's a delay.
I doubt it, because if she listened to our podcast and everyone said they hated it, I don't think she's coming on.
Well, oh dear.
Maybe she's penning an angry letter in return,
Maybe.
with all full of words that we don't understand. That's the thing. That's one of the things I wanted to say about a thing that was like favorite was that was a fun game that came out of the book when we were playing Balderdash with
that was
some
a
of the
good
vocab.
episode. That was a really good episode. The gnarled shaft. Pustular.
And now we remember humectant.
Pathetic.
Right?
Pathetic.
The inability
Pathetic.
to one pace oneself.
That was a good
The
one.
pathetic inability.
Can you imagine having her on though? Like she could talk about books way more in detail than we can, I think, too. She'd come on, we'd be talking about books, she'd think, and then we'd go off on some tangent. She'd be like, "What is this podcast? I thought we were talking about books." And you're like, "Kind of."
Somewhat.
You know, books are in the background. A lot of us have background books, and then we talk.
Yeah. And then we discuss.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the things we're talking about could be found in many books.
Like yours. Let's talk about
Yeah.
your book now.
Yeah.
We've got 5 minutes to go.
Yeah. We're actually over, so if you could just make it quick.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder why she wouldn't want to come on.
I think I'm gonna send John Young our bird call episode because I have the
Oh,
email. I think I
yeah.
emailed him, but he didn't email back. And ask him if he can identify the birds we're singing, like we're doing.
Do it.
No.
I'll
He
let
might
you
just
know.
enjoy listening to it. People like,
Maybe.
oh, these people
Or
are
maybe
listening
he'll
to
be like,
Bird."
"Who are these girls?" Either way, I'm
Yes,
sending it.
Totally.
I'd love it if he wanted to come on to correct. Well, we weren't actually doing the bird calls that he had written,
No.
but that's what I'd like to hear is like, how do you pronounce that and make it sound like a bird?
To tweet.
Chick, chick, twick, twick, twick.
I wish that he did it as an audiobook with actual bird sounds. It would have been a great audiobook.
I know that's the best feedback. I totally agree because that's the thing that made that book.
Of the books that could have used an audiobook is that one.
But like in writing, that like deterred me from the book. In audio, that would probably lure me to the book.
It would have been amazing. I would have liked it because I couldn't. Yeah, all the
It was a missed
tweeting
opportunity.
I
Yeah.
couldn't follow. But I think if it was, it would be an amazing book if he did it as an audiobook.
I think we talked about this on that episode. It's our responsibility to go out and be in nature and learn it that way. But what I was going to say was if it was in the audiobook, the different sounds, this is someone's coming sound. This is I'm playing sound. This is mating sound. This, you know what I mean? Like whatever those 5 categories were, if he had actual examples of it, then you could go out in nature and see if you can recognize. But to read what you're supposed to be kind of looking for was a little challenging.
They did have it on the website. Remember, you could go on the website and listen to the calls.
Sarah tried though, but it didn't work.
Yeah, the one wasn't updated at all. Like you couldn't go there anymore. And the other one was a challenge.
Well, and also like you're reading and then you got to go
Yeah.
on and find it and then play it and be like, okay. And then you're reading it. Like it would really disrupt.
Yeah,
the
it wasn't
flow, I
easy. It
think, of
wasn't like
reading.
on page this is the bird call he's talking about. It wasn't like that. It was just like
Yeah.
a whole list of bird calls. Yeah, it wasn't so easy. I tried. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to do this.
It's just too much to go and do it. I don't want to have to pause the book to go.
Yeah,
and
like
do that.
switching media too, you know what I mean? To go like look up this and click on that and then
Yeah.
okay, now I'm listening. Okay, back to reading. And yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We can go to one of the questions is there a moment this season that you felt embarrassed?
I'm
That was Laura's
embarrassed that my
question.
answer is no. I feel like that maybe there should be,
Yeah.
but I don't like there's nothing that stands out where I'm like, oh, that was embarrassing. But also I probably don't remember.
Yeah, just blocked it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Tom
was
Cruise
moving
thing
right along.
wasn't embarrassing.
No, I don't care.
Poor Tom.
Poor Val, really.
Yeah, right, eh? Right. He was one of the best parts of that movie.
Yeah,
So
he was
funny.
just-
Bad Mardigan.
that's a really good
It
name.
was.
It really is.
No one else is embarrassed. No? No one
I
else feels
probably
embarrassed?
was, but I don't like to remember my embarrassments. Although
don't
last
remember
season I did
anything
say
either.
something where that had been like eating away at me ever since I said it. So
Yeah, like if you're really, you know what I mean? Like it'll be there, but I don't
Yeah, I
I
feel
can't
like
think of anything.
I love that you had one for me, Sarah. Not even that Tom Cruise thing.
I'm embarrassed for you.
That was embarrassing, Kim.
You embarrassed me, Kim.
Okay.
In front of Tom.
my embarrassment
Val.
is your mistake.
I was just teasing.
All of you.
No. Saying the Fun Home Authors book, one of my personal journals, I said it when I first was reading it. I was like, it's kind of pretentious. I feel bad about that.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh,
But do
I
you
stand by it.
think that I stand by it?
I don't feel embarrassed particularly by anything. I wish I didn't pick my book choice.
You're embarrassed of your book
Obviously.
choice?
I'm not embarrassed of it, but I'm embarrassed that not embarrassed is the wrong word, but like it's
Like some version of regret?
yeah, it's regret because when it hurts people, it sucks. Not that I
Yeah.
wrote it. I don't
Yeah.
own the embarrassment, but like
So Oprah should
it
be
sucks.
embarrassed.
Yeah, Oprah. Yeah.
Kim, you're never going to get her on the show.
You know.
You're going to play
I'm
Oprah.
baiting her at this point. I want her to
Oh.
come and fight me. That's what, like,
Yeah,
it's not going to be a nice thing
exactly.
anymore. She's got to come set the record straight.
But I mean, that's how all things go. Like, but when someone's really upset, that's hard.
But with Oprah, when you think it's Oprah, you think it's kind of a safe bet. Even me,
Kinda
when you
light.
told me the book, I was like, I'm so excited. I really want to read that book. I didn't know
bet,
I was
yeah.
going to be like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't read this book.
Part of like Oprah's success is the way that she interviews, and she does dig deep into things with people, things that have happened.
I
and stuff
regret
like that.
the
So
way it
maybe not that
landed, I
surprising.
guess.
There you go.
I
Yeah.
But you could
regret
never
the way it
predict that.
landed, and I regret putting someone I care about into a trauma state. There you go. Exactly.
Okay, I'm adding to
Yeah,
it. I feel
exactly.
embarrassed that I bawled my eyes out in front of everyone and made everyone feel
No,
bad.
don't
Why?
bawl. You're crying then
Oh,
at all.
no.
And you don't have to say you feel embarrassed, but make people feel bad. If people care about you and they feel bad that you're sad, that's not your fault.
That's
It's because
empathy.
Yeah.
That's what you
because
want.
you have people who care about
Oh,
you.
yeah, I guess that's
Common
true.
human
Yeah.
response.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have friends with feelings. Oh.
Ah. Yeah.
I wish I'd read my book first before I chose it because I was like,
Oh.
this was okay. It was fine. It was interesting.
Yeah.
It pushed all our boundaries. That was cool. That was what I wanted to do. But I wish I'd read it first so that I knew I could have maybe chosen a different graphic novel that would have touched me a bit or like made me feel a bit more than. I mean, it was just an
Mhm.
interesting experience, but
Yeah, like all the
just
reasons you
wasn't-
chose it were totally
Yeah.
valid.
I just wish I'd
So-
read it. So then I would have been like, oh yeah, this is maybe not the exact right one. So let me find something a bit different. So
Yeah.
Do you
Maybe
think, of all the people in the group here, do you think that reading that book tainted you for reading graphic novels?
Yes.
yeah.
But we're going to read another one this next season. It did for me, but then I was like, no,
Oh, you are? What one?
The Absolute True Diary of Part-Time Indian.
Oh, and it's a graphic novel?
In a graphic novel. Yeah.
Yeah, because while I'm like, yeah, it tainted me, I also I don't even know what I was gonna be like. I'm also smart enough, but whatever the adjective is, to know that I should do it more than once before forming a solid opinion to never do it again.
Well, yeah, like graphic novels are like anything, like all books. It's not like you read one book and you're like, well, books aren't for me.
Yeah.
Some people do.
That's it. I tried. Yeah,
That closes
Watch
the
one
book on
movie.
that.
that's it. I'm out. Yeah.
Well, I guess that closes the season.
Can you guys please tell me a bit more about the books you're doing for the third
Yes.
season?
So first of all, next season's all banned books.
Not
Next
like
season-
guitars, like books that people have said you should not read.
Band books. We're reading about the
Oh.
trombone, the tuba, the tambourine.
Band.
Band.
Band books.
books. They're all banned books. And we are doing one episode a month going next season. So we're doing less books,
Book
As
interrupted
well.
light.
Book Interrupted Light. So we are doing The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. We're doing
The Giver.
Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, The Hunger Games. We're doing The Giver by
Lois Lowry.
Lowry.
And we're doing the one we just said.
The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie.
And then you're
Those are
also
books.
doing a fan book.
Yes, we're doing a
Which
fan book. to
We
be
don't know what it
announced.
is yet.
No,
So that's going to be exciting.
well,
Do
I'll
you-
probably announce that soon. She's going to tell me soon. We do have a fan, and she's deciding what book she wants to do right now.
Who's the fan?
Her name is Ashley,
Hello, Ashley.
and she's been listening since the beginning.
Nice.
She's listened to since Women Who Run with the Wolves. She loves the book club. Yeah.
Nice.
Wow. That's exciting.
She's the type of listener who will appreciate the intro to this episode. She'll be like, "Yep, that sounds right."
She's a super fan.
Awesome. Thanks, Ashley.
If she's still listening,
She's a super fan.
She's a super
She's listening
fan.
now, be like, I wouldn't
She'll
go that
know.
far. Come on,
yeah,
girl.
I'm
Yeah,
out.
you're right. She might be like, no, she's so nice. She would. say
She
that.
would say she's a super fan, totally.
Yeah, she's so nice.
Different members are going to be on different episodes as opposed to everybody all the time. And I
Yes.
will potentially pop in once in a while, probably
be
pop
nice.
in once in a while,
Nice.
including to talk about The Handmaid's Tale because it's one of my favorite books. So I might just,
Wonderful.
It's
Sticks
such a
around.
good read.
we'll see.
Do you watch the show?
I'm
I
going to watch
started
it after
watching it.
reading it.
It's too
I can't watch it.
disturbing
I
and
can't
upsetting.
I'm
Yeah.
still in the
Oh,
first
I'm in.
season. I just started.
I've
And
never watched the show.
It's
I'm
good.
going to watch
It's
it.
well done, but it's
I like that actress.
Mm.
God, yeah.
Oh,
Moss.
yeah,
I think her last name's
Elizabeth.
Moss. Elizabeth Moss.
Do you know that
Elizabeth
Margaret
Moss, yeah.
Atwood does a cameo in the first season?
Cool.
I love that
I
too.
think she, yeah, she's
How
a
Stan
producer.
Lee of her.
You know when the handmaids go to that detention center with Aunt Lydia and they're learning how to. She's one of those people, and she's
She's an aunt.
I think she's one of the aunts, but she's in that scene somewhere because I did a master class with her, and she said writing the book is one thing, but she's like being on set with all the stuff. She was like, it was very difficult for me. She felt
Yeah.
uncomfortable
Oh.
To see
in
it
it in that world.
Mm.
Yeah. She's
For
like
sure.
being in it is way different. It was very traumatic, and with the shaming part where they're shaming the girls.
Mm.
Oh,
I mean, that's hard anyway.
Yeah,
Watching somebody be shamed.
Mhm.
All right. It was like, again, this season seems like it started so long ago.
Well, I mean, it was a year.
I don't know. Some years go by
Yeah.
quickly though.
This is a
You know?
slow year for me. Slow
year.
going.
I
Not
think
that
the
year.
first season went by way faster, but that was like in the midst of COVID. So
I agree.
Mhm.
you know, we had
Like
nothing
a
wanna
else.
different it was like a different reality then. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to say thank you for letting me be a part of this over the past 2 years. And I'm sure I'm going to pop in once in a while to participate with you guys because I love seeing you. And I think that's the best. And the thing that I love to do is to see all of you. I feel emotional today because I'm really tired. So, but for me, it's just too much. But I really appreciate being able to see all your faces. So I think that's why I'll probably just pop in once in a while just to say hi and see what you're doing. And I've also read half of the books that you're reading next year, so I can pop in and talk about those. And I did want to read The Giver, and then that other one sounds really cool. So I'll definitely be reading along and listening and supporting.
Pop in anytime.
That's so funny.
honestly.
We're like, Lindsay's
Seriously.
leaving. Let's pick all the books she'd like this
I
season.
know.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't like any of the
True.
books for 2 years.
Yeah,
and
I
then-
know. And now you're like,
Absolutely. There's no self-help, none whatsoever
No.
this
You
season.
guys
I
suck.
know. And two of the books I know are your
Lindsay,
favorites.
we're just trying to
Two.
lure you back. We're
Totally.
just trying to bring
Apparently.
you back because we're gonna miss you.
Oh, I'm gonna miss you guys too.
So
but-
you should come on and give us your 2 cents.
Kara and I are part-timers next season too. We should explain that Kara and I will just be doing
One
one
book.
book cycle
Yeah.
each. I am doing the
Hunger Games.
Hunger Games. I almost said the Handmaid's Tale. The Hunger Games. Kara,
Yep.
what are you going to do, Kara?
what are you doing?
Kara's doing The
Oh, yeah.
Giver.
The Giver, which I can't wait. I think, Meredith, was it you that recommended that book? Because,
For the vote, yeah.
Wait.
Because
Yeah,
did we
yeah,
explain
so-
that? Yeah, we voted on all our books. So what we did was we came up with a whole bunch of banned books and we voted on which ones we were going to do this season. Isn't one person's pick, really. So yeah, Kara's going to do The Giver. Leah's going to do The Hunger Games. Me, Kim, and Meredith are doing everything. Lindsay might pop in, and Virginia, our fan Virginia, is going to do The Giver as well.
Nice.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that. That'll be great.
And any of you can pop on anything if you want.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Send us all each of the links. So in the middle of the episode, one of us can just pop on for like 10 minutes and be like,
And go.
"Woo," and then go away.
Unannounced in
Like a
advance.
horror
that.
movie? It's like a scary movie.
We put mask on like a scary mask. Turns on.
I thought more like a
Scream.
prank, not like.
Hello? You're behind me? What?
You know I'm gonna
No,
remember
that's
this
not
and
that bad.
totally show up one time with a weird mask on.
Obviously,
so
yeah.
just warning
Perfect.
you all.
I can't wait. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Book Interrupted. If you'd like to see the video highlights from this episode, please go to our YouTube channel, Book Interrupted.
You can also find our videos on www.bookinterrupted.com.
Hi, this is Leah from Book Interrupted. Thanks for listening to this episode. If you'd like to learn more about us, the Book Interrupted members, or check out our swag, or anything at all, go to www.bookinterrupted.com. We'd love to get to know you, and you could even be a guest on one of our fan episodes or choose one of the books in our book cycle. So please check us out and keep listening.